I don't think it's that unusual to be afraid of things, especially when we're children. And when I was a child, I was afraid of many things, but one of the things I was afraid of was the dark because I just couldn't see. I didn't know what was there, and also I was quite sure that there were monsters and that those monsters were lurking in the dark. Now, we lived on a small farm. My dad never farmed full time, but he uh, farmed part time, always worked away at another job. His theory was that boys need work, and so he um, farmed to partly to provide work for his boys, and partly because he probably just enjoyed farming. I remember one time he got audited by the IRS, and oh, we were really fascinated because this man from the IRS came out from Lancaster, and I remember when he was going over my dad's financial records, and then he was at some point he said to my dad, you know, like it looks like you're losing money every year on your farming operation. Like, why are you farming? Why do you keep farming if you're losing money on your farming? And my dad said, well, boys need work, and so I do it for my boys. And my brother and I were quite sure he did not have to keep doing it. Like he didn't have to keep losing money to provide work for us. We would have been fine without work, but he kept farming. Oh, part of the routine was when in the wintertime we would have steers. He would go to Virginia and buy small uh, feeder calves in the fall, and then we would have them in our barn until the silage got finished, and then he would sell them. So in the fall and the winter we would have steers, and when my dad would come home from work, then we would go out, we would feed the steers, and then we would come in and we'd have dinner and we'd do some whatever, and then somebody had to go out to the barn after that to turn out the lights because we left the lights on in the barn so the steers would eat and be able to see to eat their food. And for a period of time, it was my job to go out to the barn to turn off the lights. And I was quite sure that there were monsters in the barn. So I would go out to the barn and I would look all around because I was sure that as long as I was looking, they weren't going to come out. But, and as long as the lights were on, they probably weren't going to come out because I could see them. So I would stand with my 1 foot holding the door open and my hand on the light switch, and I would look all around looking for monsters because I knew as long as I was looking, they wouldn't come out. And then when I was ready, I would hit the light switch and I would run for the house just as fast as I could go. I would just run as fast. I hit the porch. And, oh, I lived another day. I got away from the monsters. So it was a daily terror to do that. Now, there was one thing that would really change the picture and change what would happen, and that would be if my dad went with me out to the barn to turn out the lights, because then I could walk into the barn and I could say to the monsters, hey, monsters, look who I got with me today. Huh? What do you think? What are you going to do now? Go ahead. Try to attack me. Look, there's my dad. Like he's a big guy, right? And so I wasn't scared of monsters at all. And so then when we were finished in the barn, we could calmly turn off the light. We could walk slowly back to the house. I didn't have to run. I wasn't afraid because of who was with me. And it was just a reminder to be aware of the presence of God with us. One of the things that Jesus promised us is, I will be with you even to the end of the age. And so we can look at the crises in our world, we can look at the things that we are afraid of, and we can just remind all those monsters out there that God is with us And so we don't have to be afraid, and we can have confidence because of who is with us.